Memory holes. The other night, I was out at a concert, Pamplemousse. Very exciting. I've been watching this band since their early videos on YouTube, and I was really excited. I'm like, yes, I get to go see them in concert for the first time. Until after the concert, my husband reminded me that actually we have seen them before in concert over a decade ago. And I was racking my brain trying to remember anything about that first concert, and nothing. I have a complete memory hole about that first concert. I, went and looked into it in terms of like what was going on around that time, and I think I figured out why I have that memory hole, but that's beside the point right now. I started thinking about memory holes and thinking about this concept that memory is fragile. And this is a concept that I learned from a conference talk, again, from a long, long time ago at a conference called Web Visions. And this was a talk about how you can apply the idea of story arcs to experiences on the web, on mobile, digital experiences. And that the last part of that story arc is where you have to protect the memory of the user such that they remember the experience that they just had in the way that you want them to remember it. So what I want to do today, a little bit of experiment here. I'm going to share with you my screen and show you some of the slides from that talk and kind of give you some of the visuals to go with what I'm saying here. So let me cue that up here. So I actually posted about this talk before on Medium because it really is one of my favorite talks. So this was Corinne Brown at Web Visions who gave this talk and has a really memorable name here, Pie Bellies, colonoscopies, and the doorway of forgetfulness. And I'm not going to go through all the slides here, but I just want to pull up a few of them. She introduces this idea that you can treat a web experience in 4 acts, where you start with ease, the best journeys are hard, you need to create a satisfying ending, and you need to protect memory. It's fragile. And she started off with explaining that, we as humans, we actually like complicated. We like looking out into the universe and trying to understand the cosmos and all these stars and these complicated things. So, as designers, we're often going after making things much easier and simpler. But through her talk, she gave this argument that sometimes it's the right design decision to make things a little hard, a little complicated, get people to engage a different part of their brain as they're engaging with an experience. So jumping ahead in her deck here, this is the little, squiggly line that I have redrawn on so many whiteboards since that talk. Basically taking the story arc and applying it to web experience. So in the beginning, it's really, you want to ease people into experience. And in the middle of the experience, where you're like working through a task, doing something, it's okay to have these crises, these micro tensions of moments where you need to engage your brain a bit more and then resolve, engage your brain, resolve, engage your brain, resolve, and then get to this triumph, this climax, this, the success moment. And what people might forget to include in a full experience is to consider what happens after that climax, after you reach your goal. And that's where you have to protect that fragile memory to make sure in your design that you are thinking of, what should they remember from that experience? What should be that lasting memory? So yeah, that's all I want to share from there on those slides, but just to give you that taste so you know where I'm coming from when thinking about how memory is fragile and what might be happening right now with our human memory and AI. So I know that in most conversations, when you talk about memory and AI, we're talking about AI's memory. How are we making sure that we're writing our content in a way that not only humans can read, but now AI can read? What are we doing to create the context, create the grounding, build the memories? How is memory eroding for AI? And I'm hearing less about how we're designing for human memory in these experiences where we are using AI in our workflows, in our tools, in our processes. What I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing in our tools is that the way AI is implemented right now, it's really helping you achieve something. It's like, what's the thing you're trying to do, trying to create? Okay, let's achieve it, done. And not doing much in that memory department to say, okay, well, how are we going to help you, the human, remember this? What are you going to store away into your long term memory about this thing that we just worked through? And when I think about my current experience, having to kind of like go back in any AI chat to find something again, it'll be a week later or worse, a month later. It's really hard to scrub through all those long AI chat windows to find something again. Like it's basically lost. Like you can't really go back and read those AI messages and easily get something meaningful out of it. Like they're really, really useful in the moment, not so useful afterwards. And this is interesting because I know there were some, product announcements this week about, Figma, and they're talking about how in the Figma agent, you will be able to read each other's chats with the AI agent, the Figma agent on a design file, which is great for, transparency and collaboration. But knowing that those chats are actually really hard to go back and read through again, I'm struggling with how useful a chat history is as a form of memory for humans in that instance versus, creating something that's more, you know, a better summary, a better reference back for humans to look at on that. But also in the actual human brain sense, like how are we locking away the things that we're doing or creating with AI? And asking this question, what do I want to remember versus what do I just want to get done? Because when you're using AI just to get something done, then that's okay that that's not creating any sort of meaningful memory in your head. It's okay that that is a memory hole that you will not recall at all whatsoever in the future. But what if we're working on something more important? What does it mean if those things get memory hold versus actually get encoded in a more meaningful way for us to remember, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, as we, talk to other people in the company to, make a pitch, make a point, summarize our understanding of something, or when we're telling stories later of the things that were impactful in our career. I'm thinking about not only how are we adopting AI at work, but I'm starting to think about how do we adopt rituals in our work that protects human memory as well. I'm a big fan of, storytelling and encouraging people to talk and to speak, to share stories, to practice that storytelling. And I think in this context of increased AI at work, this is even more important to build in some team rituals where people practice telling stories to each other, to share what was meaningful about their work and being able to articulate that in their own words from their own memory of something. And be careful about relying on AI too much for those memories, or rely on AI to be able to synthesize and tell you about something versus having your own conviction and belief in something and having that be what you bring as the human to the conversation. And then for the actual AI products themselves, like I'm just not seeing this in actual AI products right now because so many of them that interface with AI is the chat box. And it's a never ending chat box that maybe even in that most recent thing, you got to the climax, you got to your goal to do the thing you wanted to do. But there's no easing out. There's no protecting of that memory or creating of that memory in the human brain of the so what? I don't know. I don't know how this will start showing up in AI interfaces. I think right now we're all just moving so fast, trying to implement these and chasing each other and implementing these. We're still so new to, adopting these, designer OS, PM OS type of uh, things within our teams that we don't yet know what this is going to do to the institutional knowledge that we talked about living in people's heads. It's ironic. A year ago, it was, hey, all this institutional knowledge is only in people's heads. We need to get it out into the digital space to be shared and more easily accessed. But we need to be careful to say that we need it both in people's heads and typed out for AI. Because if we lose it from people's heads, then we're losing the people. We're losing that beautiful connection making that we make in our brains. Yeah. Anyways, this is a bit of an open topic that I've just started thinking about because of that very real memory hole that I have about the first Pop Moves concert that I can confirm I did go to. I have the ticket stubs in my email, but I have absolutely no memory of it. It's not there at all. And I'm just wondering what's going to happen when we're not surrounding ourselves and really immersing ourselves in research work or design work in the same way. And it's great that we get to speed these things up, but when do we choose to still wallow and immerse and seep and surround ourselves with the work and let that kind of happen in our brains to sort through and sift through and find the connections versus when are we handing it off as a task to AI to do that and we just get the result We say, okay, great. But then the result goes into the memory hole. I don't know. Something to think about. Well, hopefully this video does not end up in a memory hole. Or maybe it will. And that's okay. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now.